All right. Good morning, everyone. It's already Wednesday, January 8th. And about once a month, I come to you live with a wonderful person who all of you already should know. But this is Lorraine Woodard, and we're here to talk today about experiential hospitality and how accessibility plays into that. So, if you are the owner of an RV resort, I mean, honestly, anything, boutique hotel, I don't care what it is, especially in outdoor hospitality, though. We're going to talk today about accessibility, what you don't know about accessibility, and how to create wonderful experiences for your guests. Welcome, Lorraine.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's lovely. I always enjoy being with you, and you're one of the most passionate people I know about accessibility, and the way you're serving in this space is just unbelievable. So thank you for helping us educate the entire world, most especially outdoor hospitality. So let's talk about that. What does experiential outdoor hospitality mean to you from an accessibility standpoint?
A number of times I've been asked about, what have you seen? What have you done? What are your plans? And so many times historically, I haven't had a lot because I remember working in DC for my congressman. I live literally about 3 blocks from the Longworth building where I worked.
Yeah.
And I lived in like the basement apartment, 3 blocks to get there. And again, I'm stating my age here because this is in 1984 when I'm working in DC and 3 blocks away, no curb cuts. So I couldn't walk to work. I couldn't easily go to the outdoor concert activities because it wasn't accessible. I always had to rely on public taxi because there wasn't a bus service there. And
Mhm.
so for me, it's finding that pathway of access to enjoying those things that you want to enjoy. Is it going out bird watching? Is it going to DC? I mean, I love DC as a young person, and they used to have all of these concerts. Fourth of July was always our favorite. The Beach Boys played, but it was hard to get there. I didn't use a wheelchair. I walked, but I had limited mobility. I couldn't climb steps. And so for me personally in a wheelchair, it's being able to be a part of a community. My boys are young, 27 and 29, and Nathan loves to go to art museums, outdoor concerts. And some of the concerts I still can't go to because there is that step. Nathan can get up a step. So that, being able to experience that museum, that I love outdoor music. I love music, but going outdoors and then being like in a place you can see water is like, and then having ice cream with you, that's like the bomb. And it feels like, you're a part of the community. And there's a lot of ways to get there. But as I look at it for me today, that's what that means to me.
The word experiential, like you're going to have an experience.
Yes, good
That's
or
what
bad.
you're going to have. Everybody's going to have it. So it's really about the whole guest journey. And y- from your perspective, like I love this conversation because we're thinking of micro moments. And that's really what makes up a positive experiential outdoor hospitality experience, if I can use that twice in the same sentence. But these micro moments are what our lives are made out of. And one of the values that we have, one of the ways of influence that we have in hospitality is to become very cognizant of every moment and to anticipate every moment that that guest is going through from the time they before, we talk about it customer journey from the time they're looking, then the time they book, and then on and on and on, and then after they leave, and what happens between the time after they leave and if and when they come back. So it's this ongoing awareness of what somebody is going through at every single moment. So the moments that matter to you, and to actually, we're talking about all kinds of people, right? We're talking about, and I was even thinking the other day, moms with strollers, people with canes, like we're talking about the human race. So how do we anticipate these little micro moments? You mentioned something before we went live about having benches along the way. Do you want to speak to that a little bit? Because
Sure. And I'm going to go back a little bit
yeah,
in our conversation about, that was 41 years ago that I vividly can remember living on Capitol Hill and being 3 blocks away from the Longworth building and what that impression in my mind is. So as I look at today, these are impressionable moments. And so in the hospitality field, it's so welcoming, and a positive feeling when, wow, I can get to the front desk. I can go check in on my own. I don't have to wait in the car for my husband to go in and do that. It's like, no, honey, you sit here. I've got this covered because that doesn't always happen that I have this covered. And what a welcoming thing for me. So even though they may seem micro, they may seem little, but and for some people like me who uses a wheelchair, it's big because I am going to be 63. I'm happy and proud of that. But you know what? I want to be independent. I may have gray hair. I may be 63. I still like ice cream. Yellow's my favorite color, and I want to be independent. And so it's all of those things. And so, when I was talking with a prospective client earlier this week, we talked about how to make their environment accessible. And we do think about when we say the word accessible, our mind goes to wheelchair. But I
yeah,
also remember when I didn't use a wheelchair, I would get a lot of, oh, when is your baby due? Because I had this gait that would go from side to side. And it depended on how I was feeling that day. It's like, no, I have muscular dystrophy. Or, if I was, and that was my mean,
right.
trying to make
Yeah.
them feel bad. And it's like, oh no, I'm not pregnant. It's the way I walk. And there was a point about that. Oh, but because I didn't use a wheelchair, I could only walk so far. And so it would be really nice if there was a bench that I could sit in, and it just made me be able to go that much further for that next experience. I think about the woman who's in their trimester, and they want to go to the park and watch their 1-year-old play, and if you had a bench, you can do that, versus standing up. Again, you have a lung or heart condition, and that's a lot of times that I used to talk about from an accessibility standpoint. The invisible disabilities, not the cognitive side, but the heart and the lungs, and that you can't walk far. And when you had a placard on your car, sometimes I'd get dirty looks. It's like, ma'am, I see you walking out of your car. And, this is for handicap parking. I don't see that you're handicapped, but yet I couldn't walk long distances. So,
Yeah.
there are those impressions. But I say all of that for us to think about the benefits for so many people that are seen and not seen that can benefit from having that bench. I also talk about we're putting an accessible travel guide together. And one of the things that I asked the developer to create, it says, where are electrical outlets? I said, I remember
Oh,
going to Disney World because I would be sitting in the bushes near an electrical outlet to charge my chair. And it's like, wow, if I knew where the electrical outlets were, it's like, let's call them charging stations so we could charge. That means I can go spend more money because, the benefit of being in a wheelchair is I can carry far more than you, Michelle, any given day going out. And
yeah.
you and my other friends that walk, you're going to be exhausted a day of shopping with me because I physically don't get tired. I'm rare to go and I got lots of places to hang my goodies. And so I say all of that because it is that experience of going into the mall. It is, you need the bench, not so much me, but there are people with disabilities, and it makes that environment and that experience more positive when you are thinking beyond yourself and thinking about others and how that will benefit them.
There's so many directions we could go here
I know.
after what you said. Um, One of the things that comes to my mind, though, is that hospitality, without shooting on anyone, hospitality should know this, okay? Because we know that people remember how you make them feel. And that's what you're talking about that you recall from 41 years ago. And when you're talking about, invisible, whatever you want to call them, restrictions or disabilities or whatever term you want to use, I mean, we all have a version of that. When you think about, like, oh my gosh, I want to go on vacation, we're talking about emotional restrictions, like, right? Like, I want to get away from this person, or I want to overcome something that I have inside, like emotionally, or I'm burned out and I want to go on a trip or whatever. All of these things are, we're looking for accessibility to something. If it's physical, emotional, mental, all of it is there. And I love hospitality, whether it's indoor or outdoor, because the power to actually help someone move beyond whatever that limitation is absolutely limitless. And if we're focused on what you said is being there for someone else, which is what hospitality is all about, how do I anticipate how to help that person feel different? All you have to do is address one thing, like when you were saying you get out of the car, the next step for you, if somebody has anticipated that for you, you're like, that feels so good. Oh my gosh, I can advance. And everybody has their own version of that. So all of that ties directly, everyone, to your revenue. And you want to make more money, be of service more. And how do you do that? All these little micro moments. It's like so much opportunity right now. And that's what we've done. And I don't want to go into a sales pitch around this, but working with you on the accessible retreat, you are so micro focused. Like, you have to make, like, an inch matters, right? The position of something, of the design and the style within an accommodation makes all the difference in the world. Do you want to speak a little bit to that? Not, it doesn't have to be the accessible retreat, but these
I
little.
will share an example. It's not related to the accessible retreat, but I think that, as we look at experiences and we look at accommodations, and sometimes you do have to really just think outside the box. And I say this because I want this. I personally want this. So people, if you have it, let me know. I want to go and get a pedicure. You know what? I don't wear shoes a lot because why? I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not putting my feet on my boys hate it. But you know what? I think about just that experience of, okay, how can a nail salon make their place accessible? And it's like all you have to do is get a portable, thing to put your feet in, and then somebody can take care of it. But they don't have those. And so I'm going, you want a business opportunity? I know. So
Oh
when
my
I
God, it would be so simple.
it would be. And I go to nail salons. And right now I have to ask, do you have a bench at the end of your aisle? And is there a place for my wheelchair to go on the side? And then I slide
Right.
down my wheelchair to my butt is at the end of the chair so I can dangle my feet into the water. It's not fun. It's not comfortable, and so I want that kind of experience. And
Mhm.
what I say to everybody is share what you have at your venue, your business, because a place doesn't have to be accessible to all. Now, the accessible retreat is an exception because we have designed it for those little details and big details, mobility, cognitive vision, hearing, our aging. It's got it. But you know what? Not everything has to get it all. So you have no steps. Tell people you have no steps. You have a different, counter space for, a candle making class. And it's like, yes, we have a low counter and a high counter. Well, that says to me, or how tall your table is, I can wheel under there and I can go to that candle making class. And so it's really that potential guest. If they can see that information on your website, read that information on your Facebook page, then they can make that decision to go. And
It's
I want to know those nail salons that I can go to. I'm in
right,
North Carolina,
right.
by the way.
Yeah, that's a business opportunity, as you said, for sure. and very simply solved, I would think. But it is a matter of communication. And I think, in business, it can be difficult depending on what stage you're at and what level you are at when you're scaling. But we forget the very basics, that the whole reason we're in business is to serve. And in order to do that, you've got to communicate the value proposition. And if you want to attract these, what is it, 70 million people who have that's just mobility issues, right? In the
Right. I mean, you're a grandmother and you want to take your granddaughter go get their nails done together. Again, say
Yeah.
how wide your door is. You have no steps. It's that sharing of information, like you said, to a huge audience. I love my numbers. And yes, it is 70 million Americans with disability. And then in 5 years, our seniors is going to increase. So just the two categories along today is over
Yeah.
100 million. And people have to realize
Oh my gosh. Say
we
that
are
again. So you're talking about 70 million people who have disability
disability.
or mobility challenges. And
Well,
then,
just a disability. It can be mobility, vision, hearing.
okay,
Under
okay,
CDC, it's 70 million. But then you
right.
add your aging, our seniors, that's 32 million. Put those two together, that's 102 million. Our US population is 331 million Americans. So one third of our population, and these aren't friends, family members, etc., who want to maybe go with you for that experience included. I did find out an interesting statistic just yesterday, and
Yeah.
that is a person with a disability traveling commonly will spend $300 more on their experience than somebody without a disability. Why? Because they may not get out as often, because they may be able to go get their nails done because that salon is accessible and I'm like wham bam in there and I'm going to give them a great tip because I can't do that at home. So
Right.
again, there's money on the table, $658 billion of disposable income by our disability community alone, left on the
And
table.
yeah, there's money. You guys who are looking at what to do for 2025, you should talk to us actually about how we can help you get where you want to get with your financial goals, because I would be willing to bet that I mean, I would spend more than that. Anytime you go somewhere, first of all, where you feel seen, you feel understood, you feel cared about, that just opens you up to what trusting. And what do we keep talking about? That people have to know, like, and trust you, right? Well, take care of people, give them what they really need and deserve, and they're going to open their pocketbooks because they feel good, they want more of that, and you just keep giving them what they need. I see, I mean, Lorraine just gave you all another opportunity. You can have a pedicures. You can have, I mean, seriously, like people are creating, we're even doing this, right? With like the wellness pods that you can wheel in, and you can make those accessible. There's just so many opportunities. Why would you shut out anyone from your offering? I mean, it's just, I think people just don't know. They don't think about it. They don't realize the opportunity, and this is why we're here actually to,
Yes.
so listen up to educate you all. Yeah. So what else would you like to share about
Oh my
these?
gosh. Well,
I
how long do we have? Yeah, that's the
I don't
challenge.
know.
Because
Um,
every time
10
we get it's
minutes.
yeah,
Maybe
right.
10
Every time
minutes.
we get on the on one of these calls, we could go down any kind of rabbit hole because
Yeah.
it is about not knowing. It is about I don't have a friend, a family member. It's not in my experiential life, so you don't think about it. But as you're building, I hope most businesses have a business plan. They have a roadmap on where they want to go and who they want to reach. And I encourage everybody to think about who is your target audience and broaden that target audience. If it's by geographic area, if it is by disability, aging, because there is these our societal makeup is different than it was 41 years ago. And there are lots and lots of opportunities and resources available, be it Michelle, be it me, Google, that topic of interest. And I know that you can find ways that will help build your business, and grow experiences that we all can enjoy.
Man, it's a market segment you've got to become educated about. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, and it doesn't have to be like, yes, we have this accessible retreat that we'd love to sell to everyone. And Lorraine also has many, many free resources. So I just encourage everyone to reach out to her, to us, to me, to whatever. We want to support this area, and it's the right thing to do. And there's not always a lot of opportunity to do the right thing and make a difference and increase your revenue at the same time. This is one, and it's also a window of time where you can be a first mover in this, and it will do all the things we just talked about. So yeah, welcome.
Sadly but true that in 2025 you could be a first mover in disability,
Yeah.
but that is the fact of the matter. Our website is becomingrentable.com. So that's becoming, BOC, ING, rent, RENT, able, ABLE. And I do encourage you all, ask us questions, get our free resources, hire us. We'll work with you on how to get an accessible pedicure station in your
uh,
nail salon.
I love that. Yeah, now see, this is what happens is awareness is the first step, and that's what we're doing. I will never look when I go to get a pedicure, which I'm doing next week. I will never look at it the same again. And that's why we're showing up here, so that we want all of you to start questioning, well, where am I? You have to know where you are in order to get where you want to be. You want to increase revenue, you got to look at your surroundings. What market segment am I missing? And we just offered this to you. So,
Mhm.
where are the areas I can improve and serve better? And we're here to support you in that. Like, we're both of us open to just conversation. So reach out to us. I will come back and put your link
Mm.
in the comments or the description of this video. And thank you so much, Lorraine. We'll be back again next month on, I think it's the second Wednesday of the month. Yeah. This is the second Wednesday of 2025.
And you know what? If you have an accessible hospitality business, we want to hear from you, and let's hear what makes your business accessible and how it's driven your business so others can learn from that.
Ah, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yeah, and the more we share with each other, the more it helps everyone. Any creative solutions that you have, whether they're free or what you're investing in, infrastructure, whatever it is, that is wonderful. We would love to hear from you.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, we were pretty succinct today. Thank you, Lorraine.
Sure. Until
Happy
next
20,
month. That's right.
yeah. Happy 2025 to everyone, and looking forward to see what we can all create in this beautiful new year. God bless you. Thanks.